Let's stretch our shoulder girdle, our hips, and our legs. We're going to kneel. So if you need to place a cushion underneath your knee when we go into any of our kneeling positions, sometimes it's a little bit more comfortable. We're going to start kneeling back on our heels into a child's pose position. So extending the arms forward, relax your shoulders. And then from here, allow your hips to sway side to side. So we're releasing our lower back, but also mobilizing the shoulders a little bit too. Don't forget to breathe into all of the stretches. Let's take our left arm across the right hand and then push your hips back. So we're stretching into our shoulder girdle of our left arm. You might feel it kind of in the lat area, right underneath the armpit line. A lot of us are tight in our shoulders. And let's go over to the other side. Bring it on over, sending the hips back. Does one shoulder feel tighter than the other? You might even feel an extended stretch into the lower back. And let's rise. Okay, from here, I'm going to turn sideways. From here, clasp your hands behind you and then really push your knuckles down to open up the collarbone. You're going to squeeze your glutes so you can push the hips forward a little bit. Squeezing the glutes allows us to protect our lower back. And then from there, eye gaze up without collapsing the head all the way back. You want to maintain the integrity of the cervical vertebrae. So we're stretching into our shoulder, even mobilizing our spine. And let's go ahead and pick ourselves back up. Again, if you need that cushion for your knee, definitely grab that. Let's take your leg forward. And then we're going to sit down into our lunge here. So knee is over our ankle, want to be aligned here, and then sit down into it. We're going to feel that stretch through the hind leg and the hip flexor. Relax your shoulders. And then breathe into your hips. As you're exhaling, see if you can settle in to your hip joint. And then from here, let's take our hands to your hip. Lengthen your leg and then pull your toes up. From here, leaning forward. Feel that stretch through the calf and then point your toes down. You'll get a little bit more of that stretch, that meaty part of the hamstring there. Pull your toes back up. Ooh, a little bit more calf. And then point the toes down. Feel the stretch in your hammy. Now, if you're tight in your hamstrings, you may need to bend your knees. So you can tip from the hips a little bit more, or if you're more flexible, just allowing ourselves to sink in deeper, keeping the spine as straight as possible. And then bend your knee, lift yourself up, and then let's twist and reach the arm back. So this is a great stretch for the spine, the lower back, and then also helps us open up our shoulder. Wonderful. Let's do the other side. Take your other leg forward. We're sinking down. Again, knee aligning over ankle. Posture is tall and lifted. Allowing yourself to stretch into your hips. Let's take hands to hip and then pull the leg back and point the toes upwards. Sending the hips back, feeling the stretch through the hamstring and into the calf. And then point the toes down, getting into that hamstring. Again, bend your knees if needed. Pull the toes back up. Feeling the stretch to the lower leg. And then point the toes down, hamstrings. And you can totally support yourself here. Just make sure you're not placing your hand on your knee. You don't want to place your hand on your joint itself. Okay, again, bend your knees if needed. Otherwise, let's go a little bit deeper in that stretch. Hands come down, flat back. It's nice to stretch out the hamstrings. Helps us release our hips as well as our lower back. From here, you're gonna bend your front leg. I'm gonna rotate away from you. You're gonna hook your arm on and then just give yourself a little twist through the spine, reaching back behind you. Anytime you add that rotation, allow the eye gaze to follow. So your eyes are looking at your hands. Just relax your shoulder as well. Okay, let's bring ourselves back up. And then we're just gonna take a seat and then mobilize our hips side to side, just sway the knees side to side. There we go. Mobilizing, releasing the hip, the lower back. Okay, you are done for today.